Now here comes Bret Hart.
He's got Sting's ball back.
And he whacks Scott Hall. And I'm not
surprised.
I think he is. Sting's going to make it 1, 2, 3.
The moment I've been waiting for a whole year, folks. The real Dwayne Allen is going to step to the podium and give us an exclusive angry rant on how Bret Hart was misused in WCW. I'm going to step back and be a fan.
Oh boy, this is the moment we've all been waiting for a long time. Mr. Main Event and myself have always talked about and discussed the misuse of Bret the Hitman Hart in WCW. As both long-term fans, number 1A and 1B of our top 2 wrestlers of all time, Bret Hart being, you know, one of them. We've always enjoyed the Hitman. We've always loved his matches. We've always loved what he represented. We love what he brings to the ring. We're just overall fans of Bret Hart and what he's always brought to the table. Then he got the WCW. Despite the issues that happened and what went down because of whatever, Bret Hart ended up in WCW, forced or unforced, whatever you want to call it. And WCW had an opportunity to capitalize on something that we had not seen before. And that WCW, which pisses me off, has done before, capitalized on what we had not seen before. But they have gotten comfortable in the way they did things and missed out on the biggest opportunity to make Bret Hart a larger-than-life star that he was. Where do I begin? I'll start the arrival of Bret Hart. Bret Hart was there for a year before he actually did anything. First of all, what was that about? You had the NWO.
Well, let's be politically correct.
Politically correct.
He was there a month. He came in and the referee fast counted. Supposed to fast count Hogan. So we just see Bret Hart come in and interrupt the count. No, this isn't going to happen again. That makes no sense. Why are you stopping the referee's count? You know, that's where, you know, that's the first time we see Bret Hart.
Bret Hart didn't do anything for a year. The Bret the Hitman Hart that we knew did not do anything for a year. His first meaningful program that we actually cared about didn't go down, in my opinion, for a whole year. Am I being correct about the No, I'm not. I'm just saying what I got to say. You know what I mean? Bret Hart came in. Now, wrestling fans, from my perspective, we're like, okay, we saw the screw job. That was real. Screw wrestling, kayfabe, whatever you want to call it, that was real. He shows up in WCW. Oh boy, here we are. You have the NWO. You have the NWO. I'm going to bring red and white, red and black.
Yep.
All the WCW stars, main guys, are wrapped up. Wrapped up. The biggest star in WWF for the longest time, arguably to the early 90s, has now stepped up to the platform. Why doesn't WCW refocus the company around Bret the Hitman Hart as being that top guy and to be the leader of the revolution of WCW to fight against the NWO?
Yep.
That has always bothered me. It always made me wonder, why didn't these guys do that? Sting was that guy for the longest time.
Yeah.
Sting joins the NWO. You have Goldberg. Goldberg has never been a team player. He just did his own thing. Goldberg was Goldberg. He never said, I'm going to rally the troops, let's do it. Except in Ready to Rumble. That movie was funny. But you have an opportunity to take one of the biggest guys, you know, arguably the biggest star at one point in your company, and to use him in a way that only fuels fans to want to take part in WCW. And you don't even do it.
Yep.
What did they do with Bret Hart? I'm going to tell you what they did. They made Bret Hart look like this weasel character. This guy who was always cheating. He couldn't win. He aligned himself with Hogan. He aligned himself with the NWO. And all this crazy stuff. And it's like, why? Why do you have to do that? Why is he only fighting for the United States champion? Why does it take late for him to be in WWE to finally get a world title run?
Yeah.
He's a 5-time WWE champion. Why is he fighting the mid-card? Why is he fighting Sting and can't hardly beat Sting? He's winning in ways. I'm like, this is not the Hitman. I felt like when Bret Hart went to WCW, I felt the same way fans felt when Dusty Rhodes went to the WWE.
Oh.
It was like, this is not the Dusty we know. And a lot of people did not like it. And Dusty, you know, he's positive about it because he's working. He's like, hey, you know, I made a lot of money. And that's the most he'll say about it. He'll say, yeah, you know, Sapphire was a sweet lady. I made a lot of money. That's the most you really hear him say about that. But that was not the Dusty Rhodes that people knew, that people grew up on, that people loved to see in the ring. It was not the same guy. I felt the same exact way about Bret the Hitman Hart. I did not like him in WCW by any means.
Yeah.
I was a fan of him because he was the Hitman, but that was it. I didn't buy none of his posters. I didn't watch none of his matches. I was just like, son, this is not Bret Hart that I knew. This is not my favorite wrestler that I'm seeing. Granted, I watched his matches because it was the Hitman, but it's like the way they just made him look. It goes to show you that's how character matters. It really makes you realize the influence that a company can really have on how a wrestler is projected and displayed on television, because they really made Bret Hart seem like a guy that just couldn't get it done. He was always cheating. He was always aligned so with Hogan. It's like, man, he could have said, forget both of y'all. I'm taking over this whole thing. You could have done that with Bret. It's not like people didn't know who he was.
Exactly.
It's not like he was fresh off the Montreal screw job. You had an opportunity to capitalize on some controversy. Doesn't it create cash, as Bischoff's book says? But yeah, they opt with, okay, now we're going to take you and we're going to throw you into the fold. And that was it politics? Was it whatever you want to call it? I don't know. We all know that Bret Hart didn't want to be there.
Now, they pay him $2.5 million for 125 days a year. And you mean to tell me you're not going to take advantage of that? Now, I've just finished reading Bret Hart's book. Now I'm going to go still a little something deeper. Bret Hart gets hurt. Do you realize that there were lawyers that was trying to say, now this man then had a concussion at Starrcade.
Right. Worked
through it. He thought it was just, just a neck injury or whatever.
Right.
Maybe a headache.
Right.
More and more injury was taking a toll on his body.
Right.
So, he worked all the way till March. Goes to the doctor. They said, yeah, I got to tell you something. You can't wrestle no more. So what do you mean? He said, yeah, you've been working with a concussion. The lawyers tried to say that Bret faked his injury. Now, this is the guy of integrity. He's already been screwed by a company. Why would he try to screw WCW behooves me?
Right.
That was just one of the stupidest things that anybody could have said. And the fact that this guy was a lawyer for that company, so they wasn't trying to pay him, goes to show you furthermore how screwed up these bunch of individuals were.
Bret Hart caught a tough time, man, in his wrestling career. He caught a real tough break, man, especially in WCW. Even as I talk about it now, it's really sad.
As much as somebody who gave so much to the business,
right?
Who always tried to protect the business. A story when there was a mark in the house. Somebody who always swore out they knew wrestling. They went up to Stu, said, "Look, I know wrestling." Did like that, right? Yeah, it's fun. It's crazy. Says, "Yeah, I know wrestling. I know how to act."
Right.
You just told Stu Hart you know how to act. This is back on the Stampede days, right? He said, "All right, yeah, you come on down to my house and we'll go in the dungeon." Said Stu was making him scream. Dynamite's in there, right? Now let's just say I come into the studio. I don't know you're going to be here.
Right.
I see you. The moment he sees Dynamite, he goes like this. They sizing each other up.
Right.
Because that's how they protected the business back then. When an outsider is around,
right,
you stay in kayfabe. You instantly go into kayfabe. It wasn't like they planned this.
Right.
But, and this is the things that Bret Hart did. He wasn't on May 19th, 1996, standing up there in Madison Square Garden with Owen, Davey, and Jim.
Right.
Why? Because all three of them were, Davey and Jim, they weren't in the company at the time.
Right.
No, they were. But they half were heels, half were baby faces.
Right.
He never disrespected the company like that. So, or the business,
Yeah.
And to see somebody do something, like you say, he really caught a tough time.
After a while, you understand why he was the way he was and where the bitterness came from. Because Bret was a guy. It's screwy how this world really works. When you have a guy that's full of integrity, that's has standards and morals like that, seem to always come up short. I just think Bret Hart in WCW was a disaster. It wasn't. By the time he had got to the point where he was becoming the hitman that I had known, it ended just that quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is just that quick. And it's just like, man, they had finally put the strap on him and he was, you know what I mean? And it's just like, and then they had the whole NWO thing that happened with the NWO 2000 with Bret Hart, Nash, Jarrett, and was it somebody else?
Nah.
I don't remember. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, man, it's just a mess. And it's almost, like I say, it's tough to sit there and listen to it now. And to hear, you know, Bret Hart talk about these things, like how he just was miserable. He didn't want to be there, but hey, he had bills to pay. He had a family to take care of. And they paid him well.
Now, what if they would have used him properly?
I think that changes things.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Bret Hart is used the proper way, I think it takes WWE longer to get to where they were trying to get to.
Okay.
And as far as competing with the WCW, if Bret Hart is used, it only adds to the legacy of Bret Hart. It only adds to the longevity of the WCW.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anytime you got a fresh face and a fresh run, you can do so much with it.
Yeah.
You can look 3 or 4 years with it, with matchups and different stuff like that, and you can capitalize on that with someone like Bret Hart. It's not like it was a guy that just came over like a mid-card guy. It's Bret the Hitman Hart. He's fresh off the most controversial angle in professional wrestling, period.
The most popular wrestler in the world, not entertainer, the most popular wrestler in the world. The man who would go over and got cheers louder than Hogan in '93 when he was over in Germany. Because of the days when he was wrestling for his father's promotion, that they saw that this guy could really work. Mm-hmm. Bret was so much of a good worker.
They loved him in Germany. What was that about?
Because when he first came over there back during the Stampede days, he showed that he could work. And you had guys over there, you think Hogan was bad? They literally had the guys who were in their 40s and 50s, they were at the top card.
Oh boy.
And when Bret had a good match with one of them, they said, nah, you ain't working no more for the tour. Right. So they still paid him, but they wouldn't let him wrestle.
He was that good.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know? And this is before this is before the sharpshooter, you know, this is before the front face turnbuckles.
Right.
You know. That's how good he was.
Bret Hart was just one of those guys, man. I think he just, I mean, he caught a really, really, really tough break. But I mean, I would like to do almost a whole show dedicated to one of my favorite wrestlers and one of yours, which is Bret the Hitman Hart.
It's coming, folks. You know, and shouts out to Cameron G. You know, the guy who told me make sure I read the Bret Hart book. He's just as much of a Bret Hart fan as us. He said, you know, he said he wants to be on that show.
And Cameron G is one of the most talented musicians to this day. Does all our themes, all our music. That's you on something, bro. I mean, that guy's just phenomenal.
Definitely.
Very consistent, very everything, man. Just nothing bad to say about it.
You had to set it up, babe. You know, have him step into the realm.
Nah, we got to get something situated because, like I said, it's that for that show. You know, we're gonna tell the truth behind a lot of stuff that we don't know about. Mr. Manavant had just finished, like you said, he just finished reading a book. We've been doing some research and we read a lot of different things, and we're going to expose some things that most wrestling fans don't really know the truth about. Between that and the Rivalries DVD and the stuff we discussed before about the life and the career, the history of Bret the Hitman Hart and his impact on the wrestling business, how he affected us as being one of our top wrestlers of all time. So that's going to be a fun one. You guys look out for that one.
Yeah. Well, anything else about WCW?
WCW, you came, we loved you, you left, we miss you.
Yeah, you said it best. Well, folks, make sure you check us out on ProWrestlingPowerhouse.com, UltimateSportsTalk.com, PWJournal.wordpress.com, iTunes, WrestlingRealm.com coming soon. If you're not a part of it, make sure you join the fan page. I promise you will have fun, especially on Monday nights. Any other plugins?
That's it.
And make sure you're following us on Twitter at Wrestling Realm. Until the next time.
I am the real Dwayne Allen. I definitely paused on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I am Mr. Main Event Brian Waters. So long, everybody.